Hi everyone, I hope you're having a wonderful Wednesday. It's Carolyn from True Crime Chat with Mommy Ramblings. I'm here with a Lori Vallow Daybell update with the latest updates in the case. And we're going to go over some of the discovery requests and the prosecution's response to them, as well as a date change for the bond reduction hearing, and also why Kay Woodcock believes if her brother did not have life insurance, he would not have been killed. So let's dive into this right away. If you're brand new to the channel, I'd like to just take a second to welcome you, encourage you to click the subscribe button in the lower corner of the video because you've stumbled upon the greatest community on YouTube, and we have a lot of great content on this channel, and it's not just true crime because you can't live by true crime alone. You have to have stuff to balance the dark material that's presented in many of the cases that we cover. And I think we do that here just perfectly. And I hope that you'll give it a try and join us. Without further ado, let's dive right in here. Okay, so this is the latest filing in this case that we have at our disposal. State of Idaho plaintiff versus Lori Vallow. State of Idaho to the Madison County Sheriff's Department, Sheriff Rick Henry, 145 East Main, Rexburg, Idaho. You are hereby commanded to produce or permit inspection and copying of the following documents or objects, including electronically stored information at the place, date, and time specified below. State of Idaho, Madison County Sheriff's Department, State of Idaho, the entire file, books, paper, documents, communications, correspondence, photographs, videos, or other objects, tangible or intangible, and its contents, whether tangible or intangible, in regards to the communications and the like of current inmate Mrs. Lori Daybell Vallow by no later than May 8, 2020. By way of this subpoena, we seek the following records, whether tangible or intangible. 1. All records, reports, notes, charts, communications, correspondence, exhibits, evidence, data, recordings, deleted records, deletion records, partial files, and the like from the above Sheriff's Department and or its agents regarding defendant Mrs. Lori Daybell Vallow and or the stated self-identified investigation. 2. Detailed list identifying each and every persons employed with Madison County Sheriff's Department and or its agents in regard to the above recordings investigation, including but not limited to the following: A. Full name and employee badge number, identification employee number, or persons employed associated with the Sheriff's Department that were involved in any way whatsoever regarding and any all recordings of communications and the like of Mrs. Lori Daybell Vallow at any time while in your custody or supervision to present. B. Employment work schedule for each and every deputy agent of Madison County Sheriff's Department in regard to subsection A from date of taking custody of Mrs. Lori Daybell Vallow to present. All communications will be by email, text, facsimile, voicemail, U.S. postage, or the like regarding Mrs. Lori Daybell Vallow by and between the Madison County Sheriff's Department and or the Madison County Sheriff's Department. Agents, employees, from the date Miss Lori Vallow Daybell, they have a typo there, look at that, of taking Mr. Lori, that's funny. Ms. Lori Daybell Vallow into custody February 20th, 2020 to the present. A. Any and all persons associated employed with the Madison County Court. B. Any and all persons associated with the Madison County Prosecutor's Office. Any and all persons associated with the City of Rexburg, State of Idaho Police Department. any and all persons associated with Fremont County, State of Idaho, any and all persons associated with Fremont Prosecutor's Office, State of Idaho, and any and all internal communications between or involving the Madison County Sheriff's Department and its employees, agents, etc. Any and all persons associated with the legal representation of Mrs. Lori Daybell Vallow, and any and all investigative authorities, agencies, personnel. 4. All emails, records, memorandums, statements, voicemails, texts, guidelines, directives, or the like regarding the public attorney-client communication procedure associated with the Madison County Sheriff's Department and the Madison County Detention Center and COVID-19 pandemic. All emails, records, memorandums, statements, voicemails, text guidelines, directives, or the like regarding the public attorney-client communication procedure associated with the Madison County Sheriff's Department and the Madison County Detention Center pre-COVID-19 pandemic. And any and all documents, records, communications, emails, directives, instructions, guidelines, etc., illustrating or associated in any way whatsoever with the preservation and or deletion of recordings of communications between Mrs. Lori Daybell Vallow with her attorney, Mark L. Means, any other person associated with Mrs. Lori Daybell Vallow's legal representation. This includes all communication and or the like between any persons, agency, or the like, and or that includes, incorporates the Madison County Sheriff's Department or its agents in said communications, whether that be by legal or illegal means or manner, and any and all recordings, exhibits, records, memorandums, directives, emails, voicemails, communications, statements, telephone conversations, and text messages, or the like regarding Mrs. Lori Daybell Vallow and or between Mrs. Lori Daybell Vallow and any other person from date of taking custody February 20th, 2020 of Mrs. Lori Daybell Vallow to present. 8. Any and all dates, records, emails, instructions, directives, recordings, communications, employment records, illustrating what person or persons by name were engaged in employment with Madison County Prosecutor's Office at the time of recording or involved with any and all recordings, deletion, preservation of communications of Mrs. Lori Daybell Vallow and or the like in regards to communication statements or the like of Mrs. Lori Daybell Vallow from the date of custody, February 20th, 2020 to present. All computer electronic records, emails, communications, etc., or the like, digital media, unredacted, redacted, associated with any and all communications, or the like, or incarceration, February 20th, 2020, of Mrs. Lori Daybell Vallow and said investigation. 10. Any records, documents, exhibits, etc., related to or intended to use and or discovered by the Madison County Sheriff's Department to allege, prove innocence, and or to attempt to show, illustrate, accidentally recording any and all communications or the like between legal counsel for Mrs. Lori Daybell Vallow and Mrs. Lori Daybell Vallow from February 20th, 2020 to the present. Place, date, time, place, means, law office, blah, 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 telephone, fax number. Date, May 8th, 2020, time 1 p.m. If any of this subpoena is objected to by the served obligatory party, it is hereby requested that any above that is unobjected to by served obligatory party be responsible to in a timely manner as set out above without delay. You are further notified that if you fail to appear at the place and time specified above or to produce or permit copying or inspection as specified above, that you may be held in contempt of court, and that the aggrieved party may recover from you the sum of $100 in all damages, which the party may sustain by your failure to comply with this subpoena, dated the 21st day of April 2020, and it is signed by Angie Wood, the clerk of the court. Another update is that the hearing to address Lori Vallow's motion for reducing the bond again has been rescheduled another time. You might remember it was supposed to occur on April 17th, and then it was pushed forward to April 24th, and now it's pushed forward again until May 1st at 2 p.m., and this is because of the COVID-19 precautions. So her bond reduction hearing will be May 1st at 2 p.m. now. Okay, and Rob Wood responded to Mark Means' subpoena that he wanted discovery items, and he is denying most of it. So let's see what's going on here, and I may, skip through some of this. We'll see. So this is from Rob H. Wood. Again, it is addressing the items that they wanted for discovery, the defense. In the District Court of the 7th Judicial District of the State of Ohio, in and for the County of Madison Magistrate Division, State of Idaho plaintiff Lori Vallow, aka Lori Daybell, defendant. Discovery disclosure. Comes now the State of Idaho by and through the Madison County Prosecuting Attorney's Office, and hereby responds to the defendant's discovery request as follows. So this is, again, Rob Wood. This is the request. This is his response to the defense's discovery request. You might remember Mark Means had filed for disclosure. He wanted these discovery documents that you're going to see mentioned here turned over to the defense. And now we're going to see that Rob Wood is going to respond and deny access to almost all of it. So let's see what's going on. 1. Response to defendant's discovery request number 1. Any written or verbal statements are located in the reports sent in this disclosure or prior disclosures and or videos previously disclosed. 2. Response to defendant's discovery request number 2. The defendant's criminal record is attached herein. 3. Response to defendant's discovery request number 3. Any reports or exams are located in the documents attached or previously disclosed. Response to defendant's discovery request number 4. The state may call any of the following at a trial, preliminary hearing, grand jury hearing, and or hearing in this matter. The state reserves the right to disclose other witnesses in the future. So these are witnesses that they may call. Let's look at them, okay? Detective Ron Ball, Rexburg Police Department. Detective Ray Hermosillo, Rexburg Police Department. Detective Dave Stubbs. Detective Chuck Kumastis. Detective Dave Hope. Detective Rick Schmidt, Detective Randy Reese, Officer Kellen Wheaton, Detective Chad Cataluna, Kauai Police Department, Detective Ryan Pillar, Gilbert Police Department, Detective Nate Moffitt, Chandler Police Department, Melanie Gibb, David Warwick, Chad Daybell, Julie Wilcox, Larry Woodcock, Kay Woodcock, Adam Cox, Zachary Cox, Brandon Boudreau, Melanie Pulowski, Ian Pulowski, Leah Bernard and Seth Bernard, Chris Smith, National Park Service, Deputy Chief Ranger Chris Fleisch, National Park Service, Sydney Woodbury, Travis Homer, FBI, Ricky Wright, FBI, Michael Douglas, FBI, Mark Swery, Social Security investigator. Jason Gwillem, Colby Ryan, Jack Daybell, Sheila Daybell, Teresa Christenman, Joshua Wilson Kennedy, and Randy Lords, and those are from the school districts. So if we look at this list, okay, we see we've got a lot of detectives from the Rexburg Police Department. That's to be expected. We have one detective from Hawaii. We have one from Gilbert Police Department, one from the Chandler Police Department. And then we have Melanie Gibb, right? So we know that would be expected. David Warwick, we have Chad Daybell, and then we have Julie Wilcox, we have Larry Woodcock, Kay Woodcock. Adam Cox is Lori's brother. Then we have Zachary Cox, Brandon Boudreau, and Melanie Pulowski. We know that history there. Ian as well. We have on the bottom here the second grade teacher. That would be connected with JJ. And then we have the Kennedy Elementary School principal and Randy Lords from the Madison School District. So I imagine those are related to Tylee and JJ and, you know, when they last attended school, etc. We have Colby Ryan, Lori's oldest child, and then we look like we have a couple of the Daybell kids. So we have then FBI agents and National Park Service, I would imagine, is going to be about those, that last picture we have of Tylee, right? So interesting. And I'm going to look all those up in depth later and give you a rundown of who they are in a subsequent video. Okay, so we go on with the witnesses. So we have Julie Black, Dale Guthrie, MD, Gary Oxier, MD, Tim Jacks, DO, Robert Minicola, Kauai Beach Resorts, Sean Derrick, Blue Sky Property, Greg Krause, Tracy Singleton, IDHW, Audrey, looks like Baratiero, Reverend Colin Moore. 5. Response to defendant's discovery request number 5. Any police records are attached herein or have been previously been disclosed. 6. Response to defendant's discovery request number 6. Please see the attached documents. 7. Response to defendant's discovery request number 7. Defendant's request number 7 requests police investigating entities, emails, text messages, voice messages, records, telephone calls, texts, text records, or the like to any persons contacted or communicated with regarding the above case, whether on police-issued communication devices or personal devices, for examples, computers, cellular phones, text devices, etc., from January 2019 to the present or before said date, if such communication occurred. So the state objects to this now, and they object to defendant's discovery request number 7 to the extent it has not already complied in that the request is vague, overly broad, unduly burdensome, and may include attorney work product and is outside the scope of ICR 16. Now 8 is the defendant's request. Number 8 requests cellular and internet provider contact information regarding all police authority investigating entities for both personal and city agency employment communication device or devices for each and every persons involved in the child welfare check relevant to this matter and or assigned an investigative duty regarding the above case. The state is also objecting to this request to the extent it has not already complied on the grounds that ICR 16 does not require the state to furnish the cellular and internet provider information of the police or other investigators, as that information is outside the scope of ICR 16. The state further objects on the grounds that said information is irrelevant to the case. 9. Response to defendant's discovery request number 9. Defendant's request number 9 requests a list of any or all persons, full name, address, telephone number, email address, and any other corresponding contact information for any and all persons contacted by the Rexburg City Police, Madison County Sheriff's Department, or any other agency or entity in regards to the above matter. Please include the following detailed dates of said contact communications, contents of communications, statements made by officers, entity, attorneys, description of how communications were conducted, telephone, cell phones, emails, text messages, facsimile, or the like, etc. Now, please see the Rexburg City Police report already provided to the defendant. Further, the state has forwarded the request to the Rexburg City Police for any further information the Rexburg City Police have. Nevertheless, the state objects to request number 9 to the extent it has not already complied and to the extent the request number 9 requests the state to collect evidence for the defendant, as explained in State versus Boehm. Okay, and they list a state requires state to locate and provide all of the information sought via defendant's request number 9. Okay, so the prosecutor does not have a general duty to collect evidence. So they're going to cite cases here now and explain why they're objecting to this. And we're just going to go over it briefly. We're not going to quote the cases here. The prosecutor is not required to deliver his entire file to the defense counsel. Due process, though, requires that the prosecutor disclose to the defendant all material exculpatory evidence known to the prosecutor or in his possession. And then is an obligation of not just the individual prosecutor assigned to the case, but of all the government agents having a significant role in investigating and prosecuting the offense. The duty to disclose material exculpatory evidence is also found in ICR 16. Idaho Criminal Rule 16 also provides that the defendant may request that the prosecution disclose other items, see ICR 16. Relevant to this appeal, the prosecutor may satisfy the requirements of ICR 16b with respect to documents, papers, tangible objects, and reports of examinations and tests by permitting the defendant to inspect and copy or photograph the items. Okay, notwithstanding the above objection, the state has provided the witness information it possesses and will supplement this response in the event such additional information becomes available. The state further objects to the extent the request attempts to circumvent Rule 16d. 10. Response to defendant's discovery request number 10. The defense request number 10 requests a copy of any or all of the contact communications and emails. You know, we can go through this whole thing, the like, between investigating entities, police deputies, and persons identified in these requests. Please see the Rexburg Police report already provided to the defense. Further, the state objects to request number 10 to the extent it has not already complied in the request is vague, overly broad, unduly burdensome, may include attorney, work product, and is outside the scope of ICR 16. 11. So the defense requested copies of any and all audio and video recordings, documents, records associated, related to or relevant to the incidents alleged and or associated incidents and or events of which the prosecution alleged mentioned at the 3/6/20 arraignment bond hearing before the court. Please see the Rexburg Police report already provided to the defense. Further, the state is in the process of gathering financial records of the defendant, which the state anticipates sending to the defendant within a week of this disclosure, if not sooner. 12. Response to the defendant's discovery request number 12. Included in this disclosure, the Cellbrite forensic report of Charles Vallow's cell phone. The state is in the process of gathering and preparing multiple Cellbrite forensic reports of cellular devices and tablets to deliver to the defendant, including but not limited to multiple iPads and phones seized from the defendant and her husband. 13. Response to defendant's discovery request number 13. The defendant's request 13 requests toxicology reports, autopsy reports, and any and all corresponding associated documents, records, testing results, procedures used, experts' reports, notes, charts, chemical analysis, expert opinions, persons involved, identifying information, role of involvement, employment, title, position, education of persons, or the like regarding the autopsy of the following: A, deceased, Mr. Charles Vallow, former husband of the defendant; B, deceased, Mr. Alex Cox, brother of the defendant; C, deceased, Mrs. Tammy Daybell, former spouse of Mr. Chad Daybell; D, deceased, Mr. Joe Ryan, former husband of the defendant. The state objects to request number 13 to the extent that it has not already complied on the grounds that the requested items are outside the care and custody of Madison County Prosecutor's Office, and the deaths of the above-mentioned individuals are irrelevant to the desertion of the minor children who are the subject of the above-captioned case. Further, the Madison County Prosecutor's Office has no jurisdiction over the investigation of the deaths of any of the mentioned individuals. Any information the Madison County Prosecutor's Office may have pertaining to the deaths of the above-mentioned individuals has already been provided to the defense in the state's initial discovery disclosure and would be found in the Rexburg police report and accompanying documents. Further, the requested information is likely part of a continuing investigation that investigating agencies have no duty to report during an investigation phase. Should any of the agencies involved in the investigations of the above-named deceased persons provide any of the requested documentation to the Madison County Prosecutor's Office, the state would forward that documentation to the defense. Nevertheless, the state further objects to request number 13 to the extent it has not already complied, and to the extent that the request number 13 requests the state to collect evidence for the defendant. Please see the state's response to request number 9. Finally, the state objects to the defendant's request number 13 in that it is overly broad, unduly burdensome, and outside the scope of ICR 16 as it relates to the case currently before the court. Okay, and then it says the state will require what the requirements set out, and it cites another case. 14. Response to defendant's discovery request number 14. The defendant's request number 14 requests any and all records related to the following: investigation including any and all requested records, etc. above, materials, files, records, reports regarding Mr. Charles Vallow, deceased husband of the defendant. Please include all emails for the past 2 years from Mr. Vallow's Gmail email account, all social media postings, dating, romantic website information, communications, all financial records including but not limited to life insurance policy records, Chase credit accounts, UFCU Credit Union, Austin, Texas, U.S. Bank credit card, Chandler, Arizona Police Department records, reports, etc. All records from Mr. Charles Vallow's items which belong to the defendant, cellular telephone and laptop, and or items, properties in the possession of the Chandler, Arizona Police Department. B. Investigation include any and all requested records, etc. above regarding Mr. Alex Cox, deceased brother of the defendant. C. Investigation including any and all requested, etc. above regarding Mrs. Tammy Daybell, deceased. D. Investigation including any and all requested, etc. above regarding Mr. Joe Ryan, deceased. C. All the above related to or concerning the allegations made against defendant in this case. F. Any and all of the above provided previously or is the future to the prosecution, or the above case by and any all law enforcement agencies, whether said agency be local, county, state, or federally associated, including but not limited to city, county, police, sheriff's departments, and or the Federal Bureau of Investigation, FBI. All audio, prosecution, broadcast, podcast, presentation, or the like regarding the defendant, involving defendant, or mentioning defendant. All records, text, email, documents, records, forensic, computer, electronic analysis, records, school and education records, financial, institutional records, communications, videos, pictures, tangible, intangible, of minor child Joshua J.J. Vallow and Tylee Ryan. Any and all other documents, records, exhibits, evidence, etc., that the prosecution intends to offer as evidence at the trial of this matter. The state objects to request number 14 in the extent it has not already complied on the grounds that the request is vague, overly broad, unduly burdensome, may include attorney work product, and is outside the scope of ICR 16 insofar as it requests information regarding investigations into the death of Alex Cox, Charles Vallow, Tammy Daybell, and Joe Ryan. Further, the state objects because request 14A would require the state to collect evidence for the defendant. Please see the state's objection and response to defendant's request number 9. The state further objects the state further objects for the reasons stated in its objection to the defendant's request number 13. And that was dated 20th day of April 2020. Ron H. Wood, Madison County Prosecuting Attorney. Okay, so let's sum it up a little bit. So Ron Wood's response that was filed that we just went through, they deny much of the requests and they list nearly 50 key witnesses linked to the case. And I said I will go through that list and give you a definition of who is who there and explore that in another video. But so this is what's going on there. This is the stuff that they gave to them and the reasons why they will not comply with other requests, etc. So the communications between law enforcement will not be disclosed, as well as the names of those contacted by the Rexburg Police Department or the Madison County Sheriff's Office. And Ron points the defense attorney Mark Means to the police report with probable cause multiple times. Go look in the police report. That's already been released. It's there. You can look there. We're not obligated to collect evidence for the defendant. So a forensic report of Charles Vallow's cell phone is provided to the defense. The state is also gathering reports on devices connected to Lori Vallow and her husband, Chad Daybell. The autopsy toxicology reports on Charles Vallow, Alex Cox, Tammy Daybell, and Joseph Ryan won't be released to the defense because Ron Woods says they are irrelevant to the case of child desertion and that they are involved in another investigation, and that investigation is still investigating everything. So, that's it. They don't need to release that for this case. The last response to Mark Means' request for Charles Vallow's Gmail records and financial documents is also being denied, as well as school records pertaining to JJ and Tylee. Again, it states the request is vague, overly broad, unduly burdensome, and may include attorney work product. So they are, sending along some things. A lot of the stuff they are denying and or saying that is already sent over to them, or they can find it in the police report. And then the other things like the autopsy results and stuff, they said it's irrelevant. And they mentioned that the other investigation, right? So yeah, that's just that's what we have here for this update on this part of it. Now, as we told you in a previous video about Lori trying to change, she did change the beneficiary because she hacked into Charles Vallow's account, but then was unaware that Charles Vallow found out about that and changed the beneficiary to his sister, Kay Woodcock. Kay Woodcock said, you know, she believes that that is the reason that Charles was killed, that it was not self-defense as Alex Cox made it out to be, and Lori was there as well going along with that, but that he was intentionally killed for the life insurance because Lori thought she was the beneficiary of that account, and she wasn't. So yeah, so those are the updates I have for you today. And, you know, we are following this case closely. There is another investigation into the deaths of, you know, Tammy and Charles. So I don't know. I expect very shortly we're going to see new charges for Lori and I believe Chad as well. And we'll stay on top of that. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'm trying to bring you these updates to keep you informed. I am reading the legal documents. Let me know if you like that or you don't. I know some of you want to know every little detail. I'm like that. I want to read through the documents, figure if I'm doing it, I'll do it long for you, you know, record it for you. But if that's something that you're really not enjoying, let me know. And, you know, then I can consider not including that in other videos if the majority of people are not liking that. But just let me know. I know that everybody liked everything to be read out in other discovery that we went through, so I'm just trying to follow suit here. But if it's extremely boring or whatever, just let me know. Get your feedback on that. And, you know, if you like this video and it was helpful, I'd love you to give it a thumbs up because that helps YouTube understand that it's helpful and gets it out there with the algorithms. And share it out where you can. That would be really helpful as well to me and to our channel. All right, thank you guys, and I will see you on later tonight where we can discuss this further. Have a good one. Bye-bye.